minute ever, huh?
There it is.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Village of Westchester Village Board meeting. It is Tuesday, September 12th, 2017. We're in the Village Boardroom. It is 7 o'clock. Can we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stan, can we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Calcagno.
Present.
Trustee Celestino.
Present.
Trustee Miller.
Present.
Trustee Perry.
Present.
Trustee Stecker.
Present.
Trustee Yurkovich.
Present.
President Gattuso.
Present. All right, thank you. Under number 4, presentations, I do not believe there is any. Under number 5, public comment. If anyone would like to come and address the board, please step forward. Please state your name and Greg, is that mic on? Gene, see if that mic's on. See if it's on.
I have no idea. Every time with that mic.
All right, I just have a simple question statement.
Sure.
Jean Platter. I've always taken great pride that our village posted on our website the meeting packets that you all receive, because then it's very easy to understand and know what's going to go on in the meeting. And I know we're short-staffed, and this summer we've quit doing that. The village has quit posting the meeting packets.
I could answer that question. What you get posted right now is an agenda. You should have got an agenda.
Right. The agenda's still
The reason
posted.
why villages don't post packets is because some of the information don't have to be redacted out. If you ever have a question on something specific to the village, you always have your right to file a freedom of information request for a specific item that was addressed at that board meeting specific to that agenda.
But
most
the village
villages
has done it for years.
I can't speak for the village in the past, but if they're asking me my opinion is just the agenda and not the entire packet, because there's information on it that's somewhat confidential.
Okay, well, just a comment I would make is I haven't really ever seen anything, because I generally have read them all, that's confidential and it's a way that I encourage people to attend the meetings, because it gives you a little more information, drawings or information about what's going to be discussed or what's going to happen. So I found it to be extremely useful as a resident to have that same information that you all do. And as I said, and I understand what you're saying, because I've gone to the school board and asked them why they couldn't do the same thing that the village does, and they've used the same reasoning. But I've never encountered anything that I think any of you would have considered to be confidential that's been posted. So, just a comment. If we can do that, I think it would be a great advantage to the village.
Thank you, Gene. We'll look into it again, see about maybe doing it, okay? All right, moving on to item number 6, the consent agenda, items A through I. Anyone want anything pulled? Not hearing anything? Get a motion and second.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by
Girl.
trustee Celestino, seconded by trustee Perry. Call the roll.
Trustee Calcagno.
Aye.
Trustee Celestino.
Aye.
Trustee Miller. Trustee Perry.
Aye.
Trustee Stecker.
Aye.
Trustee Yurkovich.
Aye.
President Gattuso.
Aye. That motion carries. Under item number 7, the active agenda, an ordinance amending Chapter 2.1 entitling Board of Trustees and entitled Administration and Personnel of the Village of Westchester Municipal Code. Okay, this discussion and this thing, as you saw in your package, is the change of the style of meeting. Instead of having a committee of the whole meeting, we do this all in one meeting. Rather than adjourning from the regular board, go to the committee of the whole and doing it that way. It's just a little more condensed version of the board meetings. We talked about this, I talked about this with Jay, our consultant, and he showed me some different things from Bensonville and other communities on how they do theirs. Sometimes I thought that that would be a little bit more efficient in how to run. It's up for tonight's on the active agenda for discussion and approval, or if discussion and tabled, whatever you guys would like to do. So that's the reason why it's on the agenda for tonight. So if there's some discussion, we can probably start that now, Mike, or do we?
We need a motion and a second.
So we need a motion for the discussion.
So,
Second.
Motion made by trustee Yurkovich, seconded by trustee Calcagno. Okay, now the discussion. Anybody have something? Go ahead.
Paul, yeah, I know I had mentioned it before. I personally am against it. I just prefer the current way we do it right now, and I'll just reiterate in public the same reasons I gave you before. It was just that, whenever there's something where there's a time is of the essence, we have waived, and then we've proceeded with the matter, if it's time sensitive. But other than that, I just think it's probably a good policy, because then it gives people the ability to see it twice. If like Ms. Clotter, if she can't make a meeting or something where the discussion was, she can go back, she can listen to the audio, and then she could send one of us an email stating her opinion, and then when we come back to actually vote on it, we could have her input, her opinion, when we come back here and vote. So, to me, it's just more of a transparency thing, it's more of a checks and balances thing, and there's, knock on wood, we haven't had any midnight meetings, but there's been some midnight meetings in the past couple of years where, you get out of here and you're toast. And I just think that it's a better idea to just kind of sometimes sit on some of these things, sometimes talk amongst ourselves about these things, sometimes talk with our residents about these things before we come back and bring it to a vote. I'm not opposed to waiving items such as like today, but other topics I do think warrant the attention of the committee of the whole, and then bring back for a formal vote.
I gotta agree with trustee Stecker. I think that it gives us at the very least 2 weeks to go back, to research, to get opinions from community, anything like that, just to make, better informed decisions. I don't know if I'm comfortable with just making that decision tonight, so.
Well, a prime example is, this is on the active agenda tonight, and there really wasn't a lot of discussion about switching it like formally. So that's just,
Well, one of the reasons why it's on the active agenda is for our discussion. Anything on an active agenda can be tabled if you're uncomfortable, and saying, hey, we want to take this and push it off for a while. It's the same as the cow. It's just basically, if there's a discussion, there's many a times we've had meetings where it went through the cow, and it's like, okay, well, it should have just went straight to the board. It's to save time. To save situations in different times, and it's a variance on something that's minor in a homeowner's. So it goes on the cow first, and then 2 weeks later for us to approve. So it's basically almost a 4-week thing before it gets approved of a variance on an ordinance. So, that's something that I was looking at more in that area. I think in bigger items that we would have to discuss, naturally, would be placed on an active agenda with discussions and also tabling for a week or two to go back and forth for that. And I would think that everyone on this board, if any one of us was uncomfortable with anything to be discussed or wanted to have a little more time, and one of us made a motion to table for the next 2 weeks, I don't think there's not one of us on this board that would say no to that. They would say yes. So, it's basically kind of pushing it together. If the board wants, if the board does not want, we'll stay with status quo. That's all. It's just something to look at to say, hey, we can move some stuff forward faster than going through the cow. And there's been many a times we waived the committee of the whole and ran it right through the board. So, there's pluses and minuses in all ways. So I just wanted to say, well, why are we doing it? Why don't we just have it all on one agenda if you're uncomfortable? And your discussion will tell you that you're uncomfortable. One of us will make a motion to table it, or you make that motion to table it for the next 2 weeks. And it's the same thing that would happen during the cow.
I'm not opposed to hearing how it works in those communities that are doing it. but I mean, maybe next meeting, we can have a presentation, or
this
if they have
could
any
be-
information on it now.
And again, this came up tonight. As you like, we can table this for more discussion for the next 2 weeks. You guys can table this today and discuss it again for the next 2 weeks if you want to.
I'm only just one, so I mean, it's up
It's
for a
up to the
vote, so
board.
whatever.
It's up to the
people
board.
want.
And for my preference, I don't matter one way or another. I don't care if we stay committee of the whole, board meeting or not. It's just something that we were looking at to kind of streamline things, to move things forward, that some of the minute things that have to go through the cow, that could go forward right away. You know what I mean? And that's all.
Going forward until we make that decision, can't we just be mindful of the items that require extended discussion and put those on the cow? And your more minor things, put on your active agenda for that board meeting? So there may be some meetings where we won't have a cow. Or the cow is for when Robert reports about the street program or something like that. Until we figure out, like Angelo said, until there's a presentation or something, we could basically do the same kind of thing you're looking at, Paul, by just being mindful of what we're putting on the active.
And Frank, I respect that. Something that comes up that's gonna take some thought process and things to do, yes. It would, if we categorize an active, new business, old business in that area, you can pounce that down to the old business or new business and leave it there, and just leave it in that section, and just say, we need more discussion, we're tabling, and that's it. But like I said, it's up to the board. The board's discussion tonight is this way. So if we can table, you want to table it tonight, you guys keep talking amongst yourself, fine. We may make the motion to table, we'll table it,
I'm okay with tabling, so we,
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's do
Motion?
that.
Tommy?
yep.
Second.
All right, Tommy made the motion to table for next 2 weeks, and Angelo seconded that. Okay? Call the roll.
Trustee Calcagno.
Aye.
Trustee Stelestino.
Aye.
Trustee Miller. Trustee Perry.
Aye.
Trustee Stecker.
Aye.
Trustee Yurkovich.
Aye.
President Katuso.
Aye. Okay, good. Under B, a resolution ratifying the Village of Westchester withdrawal from Intergovernmental Risk Management Agency for the coverage year beginning January 1st, 2018. Can we get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Yurkovich, seconded by trustee Calcagno. Okay, the discussion. We are looking at this through Irma. This is what we call Irma. And what we thought about that, if we pulled out from Irma, we're not gonna pull out right away. We're gonna just look and see if we can find other areas that'll be cheaper for us to be involved in, and that's why we're doing this. So, but Irma has a rule that we have to tell them that we're out there looking for other companies to help us out. So this thing before you tonight is that, telling Irma that we are exploring other avenues. That's what's before you tonight.
It's just
Correct,
that,
Jay?
it's just that letter, right?
It's just a letter.
Paul just absolutely summarized it perfectly. Me personally, my personal opinion is Westchester Irma is not a good fit. Your last ranked in Irma, you've been added a modification factor every year for the last 3 years, where they've charged you additional money because you're not falling within their approved threshold. I just don't think Westchester's a good fit. I find it a little bit disturbing, though, that Irma, which is a public trust fund, won't allow you to shop for other avenues of insurance without formally telling them you want to withdraw. So to me, I've got a little problem with that, but that's the reason why you have to pass this resolution.
We did this previously, I believe, right, Mike?
I think a couple years ago you
Yeah.
did it.
Okay, now, I need to know whether this is going to be effective or not, because a letter was sent to Irma.
This is effective
On
January
August
1st,
30th.
2018. So once you approve this resolution, you have no longer have,
You no longer, I'm sorry,
you're no longer a part of Irma. January 1st of 2018.
when we pass this resolution.
Correct.
Yes, if you adopt this and we send it to Irma, there was a letter sent on August 30th, because you have to withdraw at least 120 days in advance of their fiscal year, which is January 1st. They kicked that letter back to the village saying, oh, by the way, our bylaws require that you have to have a resolution accompany this. So this resolution is ratifying that August 30th letter, and they still may not be willing to let you go. But it's my interpretation that we're adopting this because we want to pull out of Irma effective January 1st. So I don't, if we're still, on, the fence as to whether you want to stay in or out, first of all, the time has passed. You got to make that decision 120 days out, which we believe we did, and that's why we're trying to phrase this resolution as a ratification of an August 30th act. But if you're still debating, I don't know that you can adopt this,
This is
but
kind of-
then you will still be in Irma in 2018. So it's almost like you got to make a decision tonight as to whether you're in or out of Irma.
Jay, do you know offhand how much we are paying annually for?
No, I don't have that offhand, but again, I know they met with the village staff, Chief Adams is your designee. They met, I've never been a big fan of Irma, for the record. I think they kind of overcharge you and put requirements on communities that sometimes aren't fair. Again, you guys have been last in that group, which is a good
Yeah.
thing for us to share.
You get a surcharge every year, don't you?
You've been getting this higher modification fee, so I would prefer you kind of look and truly shop that number and not just get stuck with a number that they mandate you pay.
So we're,
I think it's a different
We,
philosophy.
so we have nowhere to go at this point, but we're gonna,
Well, you have plenty of places to go, it's just, you need to, like Mike said, Irma's very difficult to get out of once you're in.
right,
So you gotta give them this 120 plus a year. So we're giving you 120 plus a year, so the earliest you can go in anything would be January 1st of 2018.
And-
And nobody can tell you, and I can't tell you, or whoever's gonna be your manager can tell you, that January 1st of 2018, it may be more or less. I just think it's a better fit for Westchester to look outside of Irma.
but worst case scenario, we could go back to Irma? Or once we're out, we're,
Once you pass this resolution, they're gonna tell you you can't go back to Irma, but I'm not sure how serious that is.
Didn't we do this previously though,
this-
Mike?
Never done it before, anybody will.
I'm not aware of us ever pulling out of Irma.
We have.
I thought,
know
yeah,
we
I
have.
thought it was, we had to draft up a letter and it
Yeah.
had to be a year in advance. I could have swore we did this.
I know we did, because we looked at,
Share that with us, and when
Yeah.
they got it, they said, here's your.
I'm fairly sure we,
It's one discussion, I don't know if it ever got to the point that
I agree with Jimmy,
that it
actually.
didn't get actually filed.
Yeah,
Right.
We never passed a resolution to
Oh,
pull out. so.
okay.
okay, but just for us to go out shopping,
You have to withdraw.
we have to withdraw.
Absolutely correct.
Well, you have to withdraw 120 days in advance.
Advance,
Right.
And,
accompanied by a resolution.
I mean, if you want to shop, you have to shop in advance of that 120 days, so you know whether you're in or out, to give them the proper notice. Since that letter was sent on August 30th, we're hoping to still be able to satisfy their requirement to have a resolution accompany that.
So even if we do vote on it tonight and we say we want out, and
They may
they
say
may
you
say,
can't
no,
go."
you can't get out, and we're still there.
Correct.
So then we have a whole nother year with them.
So my suggestion, and this is only me, why not just say, the heck with it? We got one more year with Irma, and during this year of the Irma, we'll shop and see what we can do with other
Is
people.
there a maximum time limit when you can put the letter in? I mean, between 120 and 180, you
No,
know?
no.
Or you can put it in January and say, hey,
You just got to give them 120 days. Actually, you should give them notice, I believe, 9 months in advance. They have something in their bylaws that say if you give them the 120-day notice, but less than 9 months, you don't get some
that's what I was getting at.
some pool of money back. This notice is going to, if they accept it, they're going to keep some of your money. That if you give them a notice at least 9 months out, you'll get that money
Right,
returned.
there's usually a time frame that you have to notify. Most contracts have that in there.
You could
So-
tell them now, you want to get out 2019. But, and you'll
Well-
get that, and you've got that 9-month cushion, so you'll get that money restored to you. If you wait to 130 days, let's say, they'll let you out, but they don't refund any money to you.
So when do we get our next year's bill? What is it gonna be? When do they say, here, you guys are gonna owe X amount of dollars?
They're gonna tell you over the 4-quarter payments you make based on your mod factor, and anytime you exceed that, they give you a surcharge amount.
So let's just say January 18th to January 1, 2018. They give us our first quarter. They don't tell us what you pay for the whole year. They just tell you by quarters.
We'll have the full year, and we'll have, insurance risk premiums are 5 years. They look at 5 years all the time. It's your last 5 years, and then 1 year falls off, another one replaces it. So Irma's looking at 5 years, your potential new underwriters will look at 5 years. The market for municipal insurance has come back since 9/11, speaking today's whatever, 12, so that there's more market people out there now. So I think it doesn't create a situation for you not to be in the,
In the open market?
yeah, so you're gonna go to, and you're gonna look for underwriting, and basically when you go to underwriting, they're gonna look at the same factors Irma does. A lot of it's gonna have to do with whether or not the village has accident liability cases, accidents, things of that nature. So you really can't predict what that year's gonna be because you haven't lived it.
So April 1 is our 9-month mark.
Yeah, you gotta do it at some time in March, no later than the second meeting in March.
Okay, and then that would give us plenty of time throughout the year to do some research, to get out there and start looking at, different companies that,
Right.
Yeah. To me,
You
that,
do a formal request for qualifications, you get brokers that are gonna come in there with underwriters, they're gonna look at your current coverages, they're gonna give you apples for apples, and you're gonna come up with a number to compare.
so if we were to table this tonight, or not,
Well,
put this
just don't even adopt it. If you're
Right.
looking to get out in 2019, don't adopt it. But I would strongly suggest, as Jay does, that you start shopping for your 2019 then. And then, therefore, sometime after the first of the year, let's not wait till the last moment, we do something, let's say in February.
so we could do this in January, February without being
Yes.
penalized then.
Exactly.
Not easy.
Yeah,
For
but
the
for
following
nine,
year.
for
Right,
2019,
right, for
yes.
Right.
Two more years in Irma.
I feel more
I'm talking
comfortable.
about that, where we don't fall into that bracket where we start losing, they don't give us all our money,
Yeah,
leave our money
yeah, you
back.
gotta do it before April 1st of 2018 in order to get out on January 1st of 19. So it'll only have to be in another year, Jay.
It's important to note though, is nobody knows what that money is, so it's not like you're getting any money back.
But it
Right.
still gives us plenty of time. If we're doing this in February, say, we adopted in February, send the letter, we have all that time now to start shopping around and,
I agree. I think right now we're backs against the wall. I think we just stay the way we are and just get out and then do it from there.
All right, then my suggestion is, I will draft another letter for Chief Stelter's signature telling them, hey, we got your letter of September 3rd or whatever, and we want to stay in for a year. We'll let you know
Does the rest of the
after
board,
January 1st.
does the rest of the board agree with this? First of all, only a couple of us have been
To
speaking.
be clear though, you're not changing anything and looking at anything till 2019. Just make sure you're clear with that.
Yeah, so you got
Does-
one more year.
You're last on their list, and you're gonna get more modification factors, and you're not gonna be able to control those costs. You're asking me my opinion, if I could be forward here for the board, I would.
Please.
There's no reason to.
Come on.
Well, okay, number one, we did, this did come before us in December of 2012. Resolution to authorize the village manager to tender a withdrawal notice to Irma for coverage year beginning January 1st, 2014. So we did it then, and we did shop around. But I guess this is back to the previous point, is that I just wish that this was discussed at a previous, at a previous meeting, and then we could have then
Your
made this
discussion right
decision.
now is so frank, it's honest, and you talk about transparency, you're being very transparent. This is the idea for that.
Well, no, I get it, but now it's like, now we gotta make this decision.
President's statement, but what he's talking about is free flow of discussion. This could be more of a free flow of discussion.
Yeah, but it would have been nice to, like, hey, have we been shopping
Not only
around?
this item, but back to this committee of the whole concept, this is free flow of discussion. And it's not a matter of committee of the whole making a decision, not having the information. It's a matter of, you've got the information in front of you. If you're ready to make a decision, make that decision. If you want to put that decision off a year from now, that's a decision you need to make. I don't think waiting 2 weeks back to the format is going to affect it
I think when we did this before, we had the information in front of us as far as we had shopped around.
I know we can give you quotes on a year from now because they're not gonna know your loss factor, so I don't know how they shop for you with a year in advance,
I
because they
don't
can't
know.
test a year forward. So I'm not sure if that was legitimate or not.
Well, then you
I don't
you
know.
also said that we couldn't even shop
Correct.
while we're still with Irma.
Correct. So I'm surprised they allowed you to shop 2 years ago. When I'm looking at their bylaws right now, it says specifically, Irma bylaws do not allow for any type of conditional withdrawal, that the exercise is withdrawal only in the event that alternative quotes and more competitive plan than Irma's rule terms are available. So they didn't allow you to shop in 2014 either.
Yeah, I know we ended up then having to pass another resolution and get back in. So I mean, I'm all for getting more bang for our buck, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I just wish that, like, if this was already due on the 30th, that we had done it back then.
I don't even know that
Previous
it
meeting.
came up in time to have
Well,
made the August
and I-
cow meeting.
Okay.
'Cause
Well,
like I
and then
said,
that's
the
my
letter was
question is,
August
do we have to
30th.
waive, if we're gonna vote to approve this tonight, would we have to waive committee of the whole? Because this
Yes.
was not brought up
Yes.
in the committee of the whole?
Yeah, but
If
I'm
it's-
hearing two different
Okay.
tactics here, so I want to let everybody know that they've already pushed back a little bit, saying, you know, their executive director sent a letter saying, oh, we got your letter, and we don't allow conditional withdrawals, and you need a resolution to accompany this. Oh, and by the way, that can be waived by a vote of the board of directors, but my experience, having represented the village of Glendale Heights when they wanted to withdraw, was they let you go kicking and screaming, that you gotta fight to get out. So if they can keep you in, they're gonna keep you in. So, we could pass this tonight
But it
and
might
may
not go anywhere.
not still be allowed to leave, so.
Well, then it's-
And during
that's
that
moot.
time, while we're waiting, we could not shop around, right? Until
No, no,
we-
what Jay read was that you can't tell them, oh, we're gonna get out depending on what kind of quotes we get. They don't allow that. What you have to do is, you have to say, we're leaving, period. And they can't stop you if you hit the timelines. And whether you're quoting or not quoting, if it's your last year, who cares? You know, they don't have the ability to hold you in. If you send them the 9-month notice or the 120-day notice, they've got to let you out, so.
But at this point, they could technically just tell us, hey, you missed the 120
Yes,
day mark.
they definitely
Because
could
you
do
didn't
that.
have a resolution accompanying it.
They can
So-
do that, and
And the
they
pur-
may do that, so.
And the purpose of this was to get for some discussion so we can figure out going forward where we're gonna be too. So, you know, whether we can make the deadline or not make the deadline, do we really still wanna stay with Irma or not? How do we wanna go? So, I mean, that's what this discussion is tonight about. So-
If you pass this resolution tonight, we may be able to get out, which means you got to start getting those quotes immediately. If we pass this resolution and they say, oh, no, you can't go until 2019, well, there you have it.
How long could they
So-
possibly take to tell us this? I mean, we have to wait for them to approve it before we can go out shopping?
No, I
No,
think
we
you
can
could still
start now.
shop, but, and I would recommend if you pass this thing, you better start shopping.
Yeah, I mean, you would have
But-
to. I wouldn't want to wait for them.
Yeah, or you can wait a year and we can attempt to do the 9-month withdrawal and get some money back that we're not allegedly getting back this time.
How much money are we talking about getting back?
They wouldn't, we don't know that number,
Ballpark it?
because we don't know it based on your mod back. I don't know, I can't even tell you ballpark.
I
Somebody,
mean, in your opinion, would you think that we'd be saving more money by surrendering that money
Yes,
and going with a new company?
Yeah, especially since, again, history here is not the greatest with the village of Irma.
All right, well, then, I'm good with getting out.
Gentlemen? Well?
Yeah, I'm
Any
willing
other
to try it. I
discussion?
mean, if, you know, what's the worst they can do is say no?
Yeah.
Yeah, the worst thing you can do is say no, so.
Yeah, this conversation may not make a difference
Might
in the
not make
long run
difference
anyway,
at all,
so,
right.
but I think we should.
But we shop right away.
Yeah.
All right, you're
Yeah.
gonna need a motion to waive the
the
cow,
cow.
which
Make-
we won't need if we combine the meetings. So that'll save us 30
So,
seconds.
all right. Do we need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Miller and seconded by, I don't know which one of you two, so, Perry, okay?
All right.
Perry?
Yeah. All right, so that was to waive the committee of the whole, so, Stan, a vote?
Trustee Calcagno.
Aye.
Trustee Celestino.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Perry.
Aye.
Trustee Stecker.
Aye.
Trustee Yurkovich.
Aye.
President Katuso.
Aye. Now, on the original motion, all right, we'll have to call a vote on that one.
You can vote by acclamation on that.
All right, everyone in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Okay, under item
I
C.
just want to remind the clerk, I need a certified copy of this resolution ASAP to get it to them. Thank you.
Under item C, a resolution advising and consenting the appointment of Gregory Faust as a member of the Economic Development Committee. Frank brought that forward, right, Frank? in this
Yeah,
one?
Greg attended the last two meetings, and I'd like him on my committee, please.
Not a problem.
I think we got to move to waive the cow also on this one. Don't we have to waive the cow?
I have a question on that, Frank.
Yes.
Does this now complete your,
This now completes the
Your
board, yeah.
board.
Yeah, we have full committee for the first time in about a year
Okay,
and a half.
so I guess the first
We need a motion.
motion is to waive the committee of the whole for this,
So moved.
Second.
made by trustee Yurkovich, seconded by trustee Calcagno. And the vote on that,
So moved.
We need a roll call on that.
yeah, the vote on that?
Trustee Calcagno.
Aye.
Trustee Celestino.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
aye,
Trustee Perry.
Aye.
Trustee Stecker.
Aye.
Trustee Yurkovich.
Aye.
President Katuso.
Aye. Now on the original,
Thanks, guys.
okay?
We need a motion
So
and a
moved.
second.
All right, motion
Second.
made by trustee Yurkovich, seconded by trustee Calcagno for the appointment of Gregory Faust to the Economic Development Committee. Call the roll.
Trustee Calcagno.
Aye.
Trustee Celestino.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
aye,
Trustee Perry.
Aye.
Trustee Stecker.
Aye.
Trustee Yurkovich.
Aye.
President Katuso.
Aye. Motion carries. Under item D, a resolution authorizing the termination of professional services agreement between the Village of Westchester and Avizar Technology Corporation. And this was a company that would go over our places for eating tax, Jay, if I'm not mistaken, right?
They do a bunch of different things for you. They do your utility tax, they do places for eating. They contacted me, and I realized it was an older contract, but I don't know if it's and they haven't, I think it's a matter of, it'd be nice to bring them in and bring a new contract before the board. There's other companies there to look at also, if you think they're performing very well, or at least get a new contract in place. So my suggestion is terminate it. We may come back when we get a new contract anyway, but this time terminate it, start fresh with them, and make sure they're on board for the building, that's all.
Okay, everyone agree?
the current contract is due to expire.
It did expire, it's just within, I think.
2014?
It keeps rolling over though, so you got to terminate it.
Yeah, if it's that old.
Yeah, there was, go ahead.
No, I was going to say we got to waive the cow on this. I'm sorry.
All right, motion for,
So moved.
Second.
motion to skip the committee of the whole by trustee Yurkovich, seconded by trustee Calcagno. And call the roll.
Trustee Calcagno.
Aye.
Trustee Celestino.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye,
Trustee Perry.
Aye.
Trustee Stecker.
Aye.
Trustee Yurkovich.
Aye.
President Katuso.
Aye. Now, the original motion to terminate the professional
moved.
service.
Second.
Same thing, trustee
Vote by
Yurkovich,
acclamation.
trustee Yurkovich, and trustee Calcagno. All in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Not? Okay, that one passes too. All right, managers report. Jay?
The only thing I have is, I circulated some information to the board. I'm looking at a workshop date right now. The leading date is October, that's like,
Yeah, it was pretty,
it's October 3rd, seems to be the one that most people can make.
3rd. I'm at the firehouse.
Trustee Yurkovich is available that day.
I'm at the firehouse.
Take your committee of the whole.
Hopefully sleeping.
No, I saw it on there, I left it there.
What's the next one? Do we have next ones?
I'll give you my,
Alternate dates?
We're trying to do a Tuesday that's not a board meeting Tuesday. You want to push it to October 17th?
Works for me.
Tom? Guys?
Sure.
I'm okay with it.
Either one works for me.
Does everybody work for October 17th? Mike, we're going to call that a workshop meeting. You and I will put the agenda together.
Okay,
Yeah. Do you like that?
what's the workshop about? I'm not a mechanic.
Just planning for the board
Good.
going forward. and next
Okay,
slide.
okay.
Oh, Michael.
Mike will have to be there.
Yeah, you have to go.
I gotta check my schedule, okay?
All right.
That wasn't on the committee of the whole, so I wasn't aware of it, so.
It's gonna start. Let's move on. Michael, you got a report.
No, thank you.
Board members, anybody? Who's got? Frankie, let's hear.
Well, our bookkeeping seminar that we had last month was pretty successful, actually. We had about 15 people attend it outside of our committee, which is nice. Our next event is going to be October 17th, and it's about fraudulent tendencies in business, what to avoid and what to look out for. So you guys will be getting an email blast about that. I expect you all to attend.
And I have, excuse me, something as well. I know that we're all aware of the circumstances behind Hurricane Harvey as well as Irma. I was approached by Commissioner Richard Borkin last week, and he and some of the other commissioners are pulling together an effort to get items delivered to Houston as well as Florida. So I'm awaiting additional information from him, and we were looking, I guess he is looking at collecting items and then having them driven to the areas. I know that numerous people have inquired as to how they can help, and we have the Red Cross link on our website currently. But for those that want to contribute additional items, then I will provide additional information.
Please.
Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I got something. So on October 5th, we have a new principal over at Proviso West High School. She is in the process of setting up a meet and greet for the residents of Westchester. She's working on a venue right now. I think it's a Thursday evening from maybe 6 to 8. I'll have some more information at the next meeting. Wonderful woman. I was instrumental in, I was on the panel interviewing her, one of 14 people. Love her. I think she's doing a great job there. I encourage anybody in the community that would like to come out and meet her, talk to her. It's going to be a full night of, different people there, but mainly just to get to know her and what kind of transformations she's working on for the school, for the high school. So I think it's a great thing for the community to come out and kind of, hear what's going on there. So when I get more information, I'll get it to you. There's going to be some flyers and stuff like that. So she's working on the venue right now. I think she's attempting to do something at the library possibly, so.
Perfect.
Please.
Anybody else? Carl?
Yes, I'd just like to inform the board, the Environmental Sustainability Commission, with conjunction of the Village of Westchester as the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, they are offering tours of the Hodgkins facilities, which is part of the Tunnel and Reservoir Plan, AKA Deep Tunnel. We were able to arrange a tour on Sunday, October 15th. The tour will be from noon to 2, which residents will be able to actually see the portion of this one portion of the deep tunnel, the Hodgkins, the reservoir portion, which is pretty much one of the largest civil engineering projects ever done in the United States. which is due to come online later this year. So we are taking reservations for, the space is limited, but we are taking reservations for that, and we are be planning, like I said, getting transportation to and from the facility, meeting here at Village Hall, and then going to the tour. So it's in the newsletter, and like I said, I'm getting reservations for that. Like I said, unfortunately, it is limited. I try to get as many available seats as available, which we were able to do, but like I said, if anybody is interested, please shoot me an email. Thank you.
Carl, also, on that date, what time was it again? I'm sorry.
It's, the tour itself is at noon, and it's a 2-hour tour. But
15th.
we'd have to meet here before,
Next
like
month.
say 10:30 or so, because it's maybe about a 40-minute drive down to Hodgkins. So,
Okay. I've talked to the gentleman from Odyssey Bus Service,
okay,
and he's gonna send me a quote for a 30-passenger thing. So we can, not take them on a school bus, we'll have a pretty decent bus, because I'm assuming most of them will be in senior range that want to go see this, and we'll go there, okay?
no problem. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Anybody else on the board?
Yeah,
I just want to ask, I'm sorry, Stan.
Go ahead.
What time is that, did you want to call that workshop for?
6 o'clock.
6?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No one else? Stan?
Yeah, I just want to pass out a couple kudos to our staff. First of all, Mr. Lewis, a couple weeks ago, you had a crew out to take down a tree of my next-door neighbor, and they did a fantastic job. And in addition to that, they entertained my grandson for about an hour and a half. But they cleaned up extremely well. I mean, I had to leave, I had to go somewhere. When I came back, everything was spotless. So, thank you to your crew. And this morning, my wife took that same grandson to Mayfair Park on Boger Avenue, and there was a fire truck out there. And one of your firemen entertained my grandson for a short time. I think things like that are very important in this village.
Yes, they are.
We, we need to interact with our residents, especially, on a positive note like that. So thank you.
What about the fountain?
Oh, and my American Legion group took on an assignment to replace the plaques of the various military branches. Those are done. We're not done. We're going to do something with the flower bed around the fountain. Probably have to wait till spring to do the flowers, but we're going to put a paver border around the fountain as well. So we're doing that at the American Legion expense, no expense to the village.
Thank you. Chief? Anything?
Well, real quick, tomorrow morning I will be on Fox News at 8:30 to speak, we have a Special Olympics for this Saturday, doing the O'Hare plane pole. I don't know if you've heard of that or not, but the teams of 20 people together and pull an airplane a distance of 12 feet from town. So that's a big event, big fundraising event for them, so I'll be on the news tomorrow morning to talk about that. They have the Special Olympics in uniform. Other than that, everything's good.
Thank you, Chief.
Chief.
Control.
Thank you. Jimmy?
Hey, we have no report tonight, everything's good. If anybody wants any, breast cancer t-shirts, please let me know tonight, because I think they're in the place in the order. If you want them by October, that is. Short sleeves, I think are 14, long sleeves are 16, gray, white, navy blue, so let me know.
Thank you. Greg?
Nothing to report this evening.
Why? Robert, tell us what's happening.
Well, in regards to the tree removal, we just got our new chipper, so that'll be out in the street soon. The existing one we're using is about 20 years old, so it's time to replace it. So we just got that delivery today. We're going to take it out and make sure all the parts and pieces work. So new chipper in the shop. We also began our fog program this week, fats, oils, and greases. We've had a couple phone calls, and I think I copied the board on what's going out. There's a questionnaire going out to the businesses they have to fill in, and they'll be sending that back. And we've staggered this program, so we're not sending out 250 notices. We're doing about 25, and then we're going to wait and then send out 25 more so that we can bring people in and make them understand what the program is for, what it's about, and what they have to do to achieve compliance. So just started this week. If you get any calls, certainly refer them back to Public Works.
Okay. Melissa?
No report tonight.
Okay, perfect. Executive session, I do not believe we have one tonight.
No, sir.
Okay, then 13, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Yurkovich, seconded by trustee Calcadno. All in favor?
Yes, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
let's move right into the committee of the holes.